Hey makers, this is Dhruvin and welcome to my modern control step-by-step tutorial series. In this episode, I am going to talk about modern form control in the Canvas application. So without further delay, let's get started. So first of all, let me explain you the use case over here. Over here, I have a table called leave applications. In that, I do have the different field called employee name, start date, end date, leave status, leave type, manager name, manager email and reason. Now I want to consume this Dataverse table field and wanted to use the modern form control. The idea behind this particular use case is specifically so far in the Power Apps we have explored about the classic form control, but the modern form control looking really slick and very nice. So that's the reason we are going to explore that. Also, there are some minor differences between the classic form and modern form, so we'll talk about this as well in the depth. So without further delay, let's get started. So here I am on my Power Apps, and first of all, go to the setting here and make sure that modern control feature is activated. Go to the setting here, go to the update section and make sure that this particular feature, modern control and theme, is turned on. After that, let's try to connect our data source. I am clicking on add data and let's connect our Dataverse table called leave application. My Dataverse table has been connected successfully over here. Now let's go to the Power Apps and let's try to utilize all the modern control to build out this form. First of all, let me show you how modern form control looks like and from where you can add that. Go to the insert menu from here. And over here you will be able to see an option for modern form control. You can see that this is in preview at the time of this video recording. Maybe in the future it will be generally available and after that we don't have the word preview over here. Also, let's say for an example, if you are searching over here, this is how your classic form control looks like. Edit form and display form. And this is what your modern form control looks like. Okay, now we are going to consume both of this control into our application and see how the look and feel look like in classic versus modern. Also complete CRUD operation with this leave application. Let's get started. So first of all, what I'm going to do here is I'm adding a new screen over here. I'm adding this responsive header and footer template on my page. So let's just add that. So this has added this kind of screen. Now let's click on the header container over here and let's add one header control. So I'm clicking on the plus icon and let's search for the header control. And this is how the control looks like. Let's just provide the appropriate title. So instead of screen's name, I'm just adding like apply for a leave. Okay, and now I don't want this image and I don't need this user profile icon. So I'm just making show logo as turn off. So let's turn that off. So logo will be hidden now, and same way for user profile, we just need to turn off this profile picture option. Let's turn off that, and this is how it looks like. You can also change the color palette from here. So there is a style and petal section. Go to the color palette, click here, and let's just apply like this kind of color. Looks nice. Now select your main container over here, and this time we are going to add the modern form control over here, and that's the main purpose of this exercise as well. So I'm clicking on insert and clicking on this form control over here. So I just added the form control and this is how it looks like. Now we need to supply the data source over here. So either you can apply it from here or from the data source section you can provide the data source. So I'm selecting my data source as leave application data source. And this has added this kind of modern form over here like this. Isn't it looks really cool and amazing? I love it. I specifically love this UI over here. Now let me show you one more important thing. In the classic form, when you were adding the control, let's say for an example, when you were adding the edit form control, its UI was not that great level. Okay, let me just add that and show it to you as well. So at least you can do the side-by-side comparison of classic and modern control. So see, This is how the classic control looks like. So there is a vast difference between the modern and the classic control. You can see that classic control are more like a heavy kind of design. It always hurt in the eye. But this new modern one are really very slick. You can see it provide a very good UI experience. Because this modern control are based on the Fluent UI theme, right? So now the beautiful power of creation is possible with the help of out-of-the-box form control itself with the NewForm control. After providing the data source, let's configure the different fields properly over here. And for that, we do have the field section available over here. So let's just edit this field, and now let's add the field properly. So let's say I want employee name as a first field, then I need start date. So I'm just dragging and dropping the field from here, so it is arranging accordingly. Start date, end date. Then leave ID is something which I don't need, so I can remove it. Then leave status as well I need, but at the very last. Then I need leave type, and probably I need manager name and email, and then leave status, and probably reason is something I just want to add after the leave type. Okay, so this is how I want to set up my interface. So you can simply use this edit field section from here, and you can arrange it, drag and drop by using that. Okay, apart from that, there are some other options as well, like what kind of layout you need for your form. Whether you need vertical layout like this, which means that this is header and then the field, or if you need horizontal layout, which means that, let's say if I'm selecting this, basically your title will be looking like this and then the value. Okay, but this doesn't looks good. So what I'm doing here is I'm simply choosing the vertical layout again from here. Let's say currently I have 3 column layout like this, but let's say if you need 2 by 2 column, so you can select the column option as well from here depending on your need. So let's say I'm selecting 2, and this will just revamping this form like this. Okay, but the 3 was looking nice, so I'm just reverting it back to 3. Now let's rename the form control over here. So I'm just renaming the form as FRM leave apply. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Now let's write some PowerFX expression for the new form, edit form, and the view form over here. Okay, now let's play this application. So when you play this application, you can see that it is showing no item to display. Why? Because we haven't initialized our form over here. Now to initialize the form, we will use a function called NewForm. For that, let's go to screen 1, and from here I want to open my new form, right? So what I'll do here is simply, for the simplicity purpose, I'm just adding one simple gallery control over here. So I'm just adding one blank vertical gallery over here on the screen. And let me just provide the data source as leave application over here. So I'm just providing like this, and from layout I'm just setting title and subtitle like this. Okay, and here I just want like employee name, and maybe this item dot start date is somewhat I wanted to showcase over here. Okay, and what I will do here is, let's just keep it like this, and let me add one new button as well. So again I'm adding one modern button control over here. So let me just add a new button over here. So when someone click on new button, they should be redirected to the next screen, as well as the form should be open properly. Okay, so what we'll do here is select the button and go to the on select event of the button, and now let's write a code over here. So to initialize the modern new form, we need to use a function called NewForm. And in NewForm, you need to provide the ID of your form. So it is form leave apply. Okay, so let's just provide this. And before we initialize the new form, let's just reset the form as well. So we will simply use another function, reset form. And inside that as well, we will just provide the same form ID, which is form leave apply. Okay, let's format the code, and this is how it looks like. And after that, we want to navigate to the screen number 2. So let's just use a function navigate, and in navigate we need to use a function screen2, and transition type should be cover. That's pretty much it. Okay, so now let's just test it. So I'm just clicking on new button. As soon as I click on that, you can see that new form opened perfectly. Alright, now the thing is that form is open. Now let's say we will fill the information and we want to save this data. At the time we need to use one more button over here. Let's just add one button control, and let's just add this button over here. So I'm just having this button over here. Let's provide the name of the button as save, and let me just add the icon of the save as well in the button. So I'll just use this modern control like this, and probably in color palette I just wanted to select this kind of green color for the save button. Okay, now select the button, and on select let's write a code to save the form. In Power Apps, if you want to save the data from the modern form, you need to use a function called submit form. So start typing submit form, and inside that you need to again provide the ID of your form, which is form leave apply. Let's just provide that, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so this will save your form. Now if form data saves successfully, you will be having two events for the form control. So form has two events, on success event. So on success event, you can simply provide a notification message to the user using a function called notify, and in notify you just provide that okay, form has been submitted successfully, and you can just provide like message as notification type dot success. After that, if you want to redirect user to the home page, means screen number 1, you can simply write a function navigate, and in that just provide screen 1. That's pretty much it. Okay, so on success we will do like this. Now similar way, let's say if something went wrong, we want to notify the user as well. So it has on failure event as well. So form has on failure event as well. So let's select that, and let's just apply here like okay, notify, and let's just provide a message that something went wrong, and we just provide like notification type dot error. Okay, perfect. And I just want to keep myself on the same screen over here. Okay, so we just did like what if the form submitted successfully, and what if something went wrong. Okay, also let's say for an example, I want to make some field required and non-required. How can I make it in the form control? So this is my form control. So first of all, whenever you have added your form control, by default you can see that each card is in the lock mode over here. Okay, it is by default in the nature. So once you add the form control, every card is lock, and over here you can see that each particular form control has data card, and inside that you have different things like star visible, error message, data card value, and data card key. Okay, so there are different data card for each individual field. Okay, so if you want to customize this, basically you need to unlock all of this data card, and to do this all in a one go, you can select everything by pressing Ctrl key over here, and then you can go to advanced option and click on unlock to change the property. Let's click on that. So all the data card unlocked together in one go. Okay, so data card unlocked properly. Now let's say you want to make this field required. So select that particular data card over here, and now go to the required property from the option. So go to the required property and make it true. As soon as you make it true, what happen here is it will automatically add asterisk sign over here. So you can see now I'm playing this, and you can see this kind of asterisk sign, which means that this field is required. And even at that time, if you are trying to submit the record, you can see that it highlighted with red color border, and it just showing that something went wrong and employee name is required, something like this it is showing to you. Okay, so this is how you can simply make your field required. Similar way, let's say if you need this field as well as required one, so let's make it as true. And same way, like end date as well, if you need that as a required one, so select the required property of the data card and let's make it as true. Okay, so we made this field required. Now one more important thing, like specifically in the Dataverse table, when you have a data type as a date, but sometimes in Power Apps, it is adding you this kind of time field as well. So probably you need to remove this time field. And to do that, what we will do here is, we will simply pick up the card over here. Okay, and here you can see that this drop down I don't want. This is also I don't want. So I'm just pressing Control key, and this separator as well is something which I don't need. Select all this control from here, and from keyboard let's press the delete key, and it's been deleted. And when it is deleted, it will throw you some error as well. So let's click on the error. Okay, and basically you can see that it is just showing you this kind of error over here. We can completely remove this code and simply provide like date value 2 dot selected date. Okay, same way, let's just remove for this end date as well. So I'm just removing this separator, hour value and minute value as well. So let's select all together. Let's click on that and delete it. So we delete it and then click on edit, and whatever we have date value 1 dot selected date, copy this and paste it across everywhere. So this will fix the error as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So now let's see if my save function works properly or not. So let's say I'm just adding an employee name as Dhruvin. Let me just add start date. Let me just add this end date. Leave type, let me just add that. Reason, manager name, manager email, and leave status. Let's just save it. And let's see whether it's saved or not. So yes, it's saved properly, and you can see that the new record has been just created over here. So you can see that this is the record which I just created. Now let's say for an example, if you just want to open the current saved record and wanted to perform the edit operation, at the time we will use the same new form as an edit form. And to do that, let's add edit icon over here. So this is one of the icon we do have over here. Let me change it to the edit icon. And on edit icon, what I'll do here is, I'll just initialize this form as edit form. And for that, I will just use an expression edit form. And inside that, I just need to supply the ID of the form. So I'm just providing form leave apply. Let's just select this, and this will open the edit form. And then let's navigate to screen 2. Okay, let me provide the effect as transition.cover, and this time this is from the gallery control to my Power Apps. So again, I'm just providing which item I have selected from here. So I'm just taking one context variable over here, variable selected item, and that selected item is nothing but your gallery selected item. So what's your gallery's ID? Gallery 1. So let's just provide like this, gallery 1 selected. Finish the bracket, and this is how we will pass the context variable. Now copy this variable name, because this is what we are going to use in the next page. Let me format the code, and this is how the edit form code looks like. So we are going to use the same form as a new form and edit form, both the way. And this is where we are just passing this context variable from gallery to the form. Okay, now let's just play this application, and let me open the same record which I saved earlier. And you can see that when I click on edit and when I navigate it, again I'm saying no item to display, because we initialize the edit form, but we haven't provided the selected item to the form control. And to do that, select the form control again and go to the item property, because item property is very important property using which the form will know that okay, which record or the edit mode I do need to open over here. So I'm selecting this, and this time let's just provide here like variable selected item. So that is the same variable that we copied from the previous step. So let's just supply it over here, and here we are. You can see that I can see the data in the edit mode like this. Similar way, let's say I'm just going here and let me just open some other data from here like this record. Okay, let me just open it up, and this is how it looks like. Remember the Paul's record we just submitted? So this is how it looks like over here, right? Now, let's say for save button in the edit mode, you don't need to do any extra code. We already written the submit form code over here, so it will work as expected. Now for the better navigation, let me just add some sort of back button over here. So I'm selecting my header again, and let's just search for the back button. It just added this back arrow in the header. Let's just reorder and move to start. That is how it looks like. Okay, and now on the back button, we will simply write a code back. Okay, so let's say when I click on that, it will just go back. Now let's click on new. So fresh form is opened, and let's say this time I'm just adding one record over here. Okay, and this time I'm submitting the record on behalf of Pragati, and I'm just adding the start date over here, end date over here, leave type, reason, sick from cold, and manager I'm just adding Dhruvin, and I'm just providing the email addresses dhruvinshah@gmail.com, and leave status, let's just apply here. Okay, and save it. As soon as you save it, the record is submitted. Now let's open the Pragati's record from here. I'm clicking on edit mode, and you can see the same exact form over here. Now let's say I'm just updating some reason and saving it. It just updated the record as well. Okay, and if I reopen Pragati's record, I can see the updated stuff over here as well. Right? So this is how it will simply work with the modern form control. Now, one more important thing, like as we know, this modern form control is in preview right now. So it has many limitations. So let me explain you what are the limitations I have looked out so far with my practical experience. But you can share your experience with me as well, like which features are missing in the modern form control. Okay, so the most important feature which is missing at this moment in the form control is tab index feature. Okay, so let me just open up the classic form over here in time being. Okay, so let's say this is classic control. Okay, and this is like my control over here, like this is text box control. Okay, for each control in the classic form has a property called tab index, and we know that tab index is basically used for, like, let's say if you are using only keyboard and if you are using tab, it will go in a sequence. But this feature is majorly missing in the modern form control. Right now, let's say I'm placing my cursor here, I'm pressing tab, but see it moved here, then it moved here. It just doing the random behavior, right? So this tab index feature is really missing. Hopefully in the future it will be available soon. Second important feature is over here, let's say this is the text box. Okay, and in this particular text box, I have observed one thing. They have changed a property a little bit. Sometimes in the classic control, let's say if I need the text box property somewhere. Okay, so basically what we were doing is we were copying the ID of the control, and let's say I'm taking one label control somehow on the screen. Okay, and now let's say if I want that value to be printed, then I will usually write Datacard value 1 dot text. But in the modern control, it has dot value property. So this is slightly being changed. In classic control, it is your Datacard dot text, but here it's Datacard dot value. That is second difference. Another minor bug I have observed with the modern form control is, let's say for an example, this is like your choice column. Okay, and you have observed this, like these are the different choices. But here randomly it is adding one choice as a blank value over here. This is one behavior which I have observed everywhere. Not sure what's the reason, but this is also I have observed. Like over here as well, you can see that paid, unpaid, but one is blank. I'm not sure what's the reason behind that, but still it is there. Also, if you are having people picker type of column with the modern form control, it still has some challenges. You are not able to easily search the user from Active Directory if you are using with the SharePoint. Okay, so these are some known limitations I know of the modern form control, but still slowly you can get your hands dirty on the new modern form, because in future ultimately we are going to use this form control more and more for yourself. Okay, so now you need to tell me in the comment section which limitation of the form control you are facing, or which you think that modern form control has a missing feature. Okay, I'm happy to hear from you. And that's pretty much it about the modern form control. Same like classic form control. Let's say if you want to add some view button and wanted to open the view form, let me just add one view icon over here in the gallery. So I'm just adding this view button over here. Okay, and now let's say for an example, when I click on that, I want to open the read only form. Okay, then I can use simply like this view form and just provide like form, leave apply, and then you can use the exact same code over here which you are using for the navigation. Okay, I'm copying same from edit form to view form. Okay, and this is how it looks like. Now let's say when I initialize the view form and when I open, everything is open in the view only mode like this. See, everything is disabled. I can't edit anything, although I can see the cursor over there, but I can't edit that over here at all. Okay, so that's how it will work with the view form, right? So that's pretty much it about entire thing about the modern form control. If you are for the first time to my channel, make sure you hit thumbs up and subscribe my channel and press the bell notification to never miss any updates from me. Looking for any training or consultation, always check our website, because these are the places where I'm posting about the active trainings, which is underneath powerplatformtrainings.com. With this is Dhruvin signing off. See you in the next session with some amazing content. Till then, have a great day. Goodbye.